Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from AlexMercedCoder.dev, and in this video what I want to do is we're going to start working on the React app and to build out full code functionality now that we have the API done. So right now I have my API running, so my API is running right here in this terminal, so I'm running everything locally, so I didn't deploy anything. If you were to deploy, you would deploy it somewhere like Render or Heroku. So you would just deploy the application, then you'd make sure you set up all your environmental variables for your database URL and all that fun stuff. I'm not going to do that here. But so let's just kind of keep on going. Okay, so I'm going to head back to this terminal here. We'll do React out of here. So I'm going to cd into the front end folder because this terminal was inside my folder, my auth router folder, so the parent folder. Again, you can always see what folder I'm at by like looking at the prompt. So now I'm inside the front end folder. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do npm install. What do I want? I am going to want React router DOM. I think, do I want anything else? I don't need to worry about any tokens and passing around any tokens globally. So that, because we're using the HTTP only cookie. So in that case, really React router DOM should be all that I need for the moment. Okay. Trying to think, is there anything else I would want though? Nope, I think I'm good. I don't think there's going to be any need for any crazy state management. The router makes it pretty easy. Okay, so now that we have that, let's just kind of start setting up the stage. I'm going to create a folder for router, new folder for all my router stuff. Okay, and then we're going to create a few files in there. Router.js, actions.js, and new file loaders.js. Okay, and I will create new file url.js. Just makes this that way. Again, the idea is like, even though I could just write the URL in the file, the idea is having one place where the URL is written, makes it where I don't have to rewrite it over and over again, making it, if I have to change it later, I'm only changing it one space. The idea is you always want to try to define things only once if you can help it, because that way if they change, you're not changing in 50 places, which leaves room for possible bugs because you forgot to change it in places. So the idea is you want to, breaking things up isn't giving, sometimes just a line, its own file is fine. So that's literally what I'm going to do here. So const URL, and then I'm going to export default. I'm not going to even bother calling it a variable, just export default. And the URL is http / localhost 4000. And that'll be our base URL. Because again, there's /auth, and then there's also like /note. So instead of just, I'm just going to start with that. Okay. And then later on, if I deployed it, all I'd have to do is just change the variable here instead of having to change it everywhere I make an API call. Okay. Cool. Now we need to set up our React router. So what I need to do here is I need to create our router. So that's going to be import create browser router and create routes from elements. And then we need the route component from React router DOM. And I think that's all I really need here for now. Actually, I'm going to want the app component. Import app from /app. Okay, cool. So then we're going to say const router. This is our front end router. Const router equals create browser router, create routes from elements. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a fragment, so that way if we wanted to create multiple top level routes we could. I probably won't, but we'll have that option. Route path equals / this is our top level route. And this is going to path, what am I thinking? Path / element equals app, and we'll leave it at that for now. Okay, now in here, what there's going to be Thinking. Yeah, we're gonna have a slash like login. So route path slash login. So that's going to load up the login form. Element to come. Okay, so for now I'll just put like an h1 that says login, and we'll replace it with a component when the time comes. And then that's going to be it there. Then we're going to have one for signup. And then we're going to have one for logout. Okay, except the logout one won't need an element. That'll just be an action. Okay. Then you're going to end up going to like a dashboard. Okay, so we're going to have a route path equals slash dashboard. Okay. Element will equal, and then again, we will eventually have it h1 slash dashboard. And then here we'll have different like child routes from here, because again, the dashboard, once you're on there, you're logged in, and then we'll just make it where basically everything's kind of sub of that. Okay, so we're gonna have the index route. So route path equals whatever, and this will be the index h1 index slash, and again we'll add the loaders as we need them. Slash show, say slash note slash ID. Okay, for the show route, actually I don't really need to do that. Okay, then we will have, the question is, do I want the show? We'll make that a subroute, have subroutes as well for update and for update. And then again we'll also have a create. We're gonna have a slash create. Okay, and we'll actually make that like the form appears when needed. But then on the show page, here's where we'll have a path for slash update. Which won't, yeah, there will be a component for that. And then slash delete. Okay, and then I think that should be everything I need. Okay. So basically, you'll see like the longest route would be like something like, it would be like slash dashboard slash DID slash delete. Would be sort of like when you start thinking about how these things collapse on top of each other. Okay, first let's start off at the top level. Let's get this like sign up login stuff going. So what I need to do is first head over to index.js and add the router. So I want to get rid of app here. And what I need to do is replace this with import router provider. I also need to import the router. Import router. Nope, that's the wrong one. That's importing it from my backend app. Nope. Import router from, did I not export it? I don't think I did. X default, export default router. Okay, now I can go back over here, import router. There we go, router from there. Okay, and then I can just go over here, say React or router provider, and then pass in the router that equals the router that we created, and then that should be good. So now I should be able to run this, and I should at least see that app component. npm start. Okay, so that's opening. Taking a second. It's taking a little too long, so I'm gonna open up the DevTools. Route, absolute route path / create nested underpath. Valid and absolute child must start with the combined path of all of its parents' nodes. Absolute route path / create nested underpath dashboard is not valid. An absolute child route must start with the combined path of all its parent routes. Since when? Okay, let's go take a look at the React Router documentation. React Router. Okay, let's see here. Router. Or actually, let's go to route. Now let's just see some examples. Okay, so route, type declaration, path segments, team, multiple dynamic segments in one route. Splats. Yeah, routes. Oh, I think I see. I think I see why. Okay, so let me head back to my router. I think what it wants me to do is do this. And then this should be more like, and then this should be like that. Let me see if that fixes it. Yep, that fixed it. Okay. Yeah, because basically the idea is that if you want to keep going, you have to have the slash at the end, and then it tracks like that. So when it sees like the slash at the front, it thinks it's an absolute route. So that's the deal there. Not a big fan of that, but that's the way it works. Okay, so it's working. Great. So now what we want to do is change this app component so that way it shows other stuff. So I'm going to head over to app.js and I'm going to clear this all out. One thing I'm going to want is the outlet because we want to show the subroutes. Outlet, import, outlet. So I'm going to say here h1 my note taking app, and then we're going to say outlet. Okay, and then we're just going to have a couple buttons for, I mean right now I don't think I have it. Do I have an index like a main page route right now? Router. Yeah, no I don't. So I should probably set something up. Do I? For now, I'll just make an absolute like login, logout button that just kind of hangs out at the top for now. So let me see here. Where am I at? Where am I at? Oh, I want to go back to app.js. I'm going to import a link component. Actually, I already have React Router DOM up there, so I can just do it there. Link, so that we can create some links. And I'm just going to create a couple buttons. Button, link to / signup. X / signup. And then this will say sign up. We'll just create a few more buttons. Log in, and then log out, which we'll deal with in a little bit. But let's just see if those generally work. So if I hit, no, you know, it's not saying what it's supposed to say. It's still saying log in. Log out. Okay, so now if I click on sign up, I see that it takes me to that. Okay, that's because I don't think I changed it in the routes. If I go to the router, yeah, so these both still say login. Again, you just kind of want to make it so you make sure you confirm that it's like linking before I go out and build a whole component. So sign up, login, perfect. Logout's not going to do anything, so that's fine. Okay, cool. So that's all sketched out. So now what we do is we just need to start creating like a login and logout form. Okay, so I'm going to go head over to make a folder called pages, new file called, that was a new file. I'll create a new folder called pages. And in there, we're going to create a new file called, we are going to call it, I mean, the form is going to be identical, so I'd rather keep it dynamic. So let me think about how we can use this. No, I won't get too fancy. We'll just have a sign up form, signup.js, function, export default function sign up. And then here we're going to want to use that form component from React Router. So import form from React Router DOM. And all this is going to return is a form that when it submits, it's going to submit to /signup. And it's going to use the method of post. So that way it triggers the action. Because there's always a post that triggers the action on that particular route when it comes to React Router. And then we just make the form. So we'll say, hey, input type equals text, which will be name, username, password, not type, name, username, placeholder equals username. So that way the user knows what they're putting in there. Okay, and then we're going to pretty much do the same thing for the password field. Except it's going to be a password type input, so that way it hides the password. And we should just do this, so that way I don't have to type so much. Okay, and then we do a button, create user. And since the button's inside of a form, a clicking of the button will submit the form. Okay, so we save that. And then and that's already export defaulted, so that's fine. And I can pretty much use this almost as exact same form for login. So I'll just do new file, login.js, and just change this to login. Only difference is that this is going to post to login. And then that's going to be login. Okay, perfect. So now let's just first get the routes attached. So I head over to router, and I'm going to import those. Import login, import sign up, attach those to the appropriate routes. So login and sign up. Okay, now those submit to that same route, so I need to create an action for those routes, so that way when you submit the form, it does a thing. So I'm gonna head over to actions. I'm gonna go import the URL, import URL, and let's create first the sign up action. Const, and then we're also gonna want to import redirect. Report redirect from React Router DOM. So export const sign up action equals an async function recres, not recres, what am I doing? What I am going to want is I want to request, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say const form data equals request dot form data. Okay, and then I'm going to want to await that. Okay, then I'm going to say like const user equals a new object, and we're going to say username which is going to equal form data dot get username, so whatever's in the username field, and password form data dot get password. Got a comma. Okay, and then we can make the request. So we'll just say await the fetch to URL plus slash signup, or it's actually slash auth slash signup, because it's, remember, our backend was like slash auth slash signup. And the method of that request is going to be post. And then the body, the headers, we have to make sure we put in the headers. So we got to make sure we do like application, content type. Okay. And you know what? What can save me a lot of typing? Since I'm not going to need to do any other headers other than just content type, what I can do is I will just create a file called headers. New file called headers.js. And I'm just going to export default content type content type application slash JSON. So this way I only have to write that once. Okay, so it doesn't want me to do export default when it's an object, so we'll just do that. Const headers equals, and then we'll export default headers. Okay, so then I'll go back to my action, and then what I can do is import headers, save myself some time. So that way I don't have to keep typing that same stuff over and over again. Again, don't repeat yourself if you don't have to. Okay, so I'll just put the headers there. And then I need the body that I can't really avoid, so I have to do like JSON.stringify and then stringify the user that we just created, that object with the things that we want to send over. Okay, wait, fetch. Okay, now if I really wanted to get sophisticated with this, I would like take a look to see, hey, was there anything wrong with it? I'm going to assume that the request went fine. Let's see here. We'll say const response. We should probably check const response. And then we're going to say if response dot status. Maybe we'll check dot status. Yeah, equals 400, which means it's an error. Then we'll alert response dot status text. Because it's, well, we'll just alert failed response or failed sign up, and then we will just return, so that way it ends the function return redirect and redirect them back to slash signup. Okay, again, redirect to a front end route. Now, if that's not the case, no need for an else statement, because either that'll return or it won't. In that case, then what I want to do is then redirect them to slash login so they can log in. Okay, so that will be the sign up action. Then we can do the login action, const export const login action equals async. And then again, we're going to want that request. And then I'm just going to literally pretty much copy this. This is the same. Actually, most of this is the same. So I will copy just all of that. Only difference is that now we're posting to auth slash login. as the what we're posting to. And instead of saying failed sign up, I'm going to say failed login, which will redirect them back to login. And if it's successful, it'll redirect them to /dashboard. Okay. Cool. So now we can go back to our router, and we're going to import those actions. So import login action and sign up action. Okay, and then we can attach those to those routes. So action equals login action, action equals sign up action. I might as well create the logout action while I'm at it. Okay, so let me head back to my actions and create the logout action. I'll just literally copy this again because it's going to be much shorter, but okay, so we'll call this logout action. I don't need a form, so we can skip all this stuff. So we're not going to need the destructure of the request object, and we don't need a body. We don't need headers. We're just basically posting to log out. Okay, and then basically it should redirect you back to the main page. Okay. And again, if it fails, just take us back to the dashboard because we're still logged in. Failed logout. Okay. And then let's go back to the router and attach that. Login action or logout action. And then on the logout route, we'll just attach action equals logout. Okay. Now we want to trigger that action when you click on logout, so logout needs to be a form. So I need to go back to app. We're going to want that form component here. So that way, hey, when you click on this logout button, it's really not a link, but a form. So form. And the form, let's delete all this, it has an action that submits to /logout, the method of post, and again, inside of it is just a button. It says logout. So it'll look like just a button, but it's really a form. You're really submitting the form, which is making the post to that action and logging you out. Okay, so let's see here. Do I have any errors? No, so far looking so good. So let me go to sign up. Okay, let's say test2. Test2. I'll click create user. Okay, so here we go. You define an action for route 01, but I didn't return anything. Oh, I didn't return the redirect. That's the problem. Back to my actions. So return, but I didn't return this one. So I need to go do that for all of these. Return. Okay, cool. Let's try it again. So we'll say test3, test3. I create user, and it worked. See, I'm now on the login page. So that means that was all successful. Okay, now let's see if I can log in with the correct credentials. Test3, test3, log in, and it took me to the dashboard. Okay, so success. I am technically logged in, and I can double check by going over here to my application and my DevTools. And if you go here, you should be able to see your cookies. So you see here's cookies. And I click on the cookies for my website, and I can see, well, it's usually there. Sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't. It's still tricky. Only show cookies with an issue. No. Spiff ID, F1s, trust tokens. I think it's because it's an HTTP only cookie. Oh, I think it's an issue with localhost. It's when you're using localhost, the cookie doesn't necessarily register. I kind of remembering this now. So I will have to deploy this. Or let me actually, well, we'll come back to this on the next video, but we've gotten where we've gotten to. I'll see you all very soon.